Hello, students of class 10th. How are you all? I hope all of you are doing fine. Well, let us very quickly get on with today's video's contents. In today's video, I'll be discussing with you the second chapter of your supplementary reader, which is the Thief's Story, and it's been written by Ruskin Bond. So, in this particular video, I intend to first discuss with you the summary of the story, and then we will look at some of the important issues which are highlighted in the story or the themes upon which the story has been built upon, and then we will also try to look at the character sketch of some of the important characters. Well, here there are only two characters, so we will look at the character sketch of both of these particular characters. Let us first begin by summary of the story. I'm referring to the book. As you can see, I have this book with me, so you should also keep your book along with you when you are watching the video so that you can make more sense of it. So I would prefer you to first have read the story if you have the textbook with you. If you don't, please download an e-copy of it and read the textbook of read the story of it so that the video will make more sense to you. Let us very quickly begin with the contents of today's video. The thief's story is basically, as the name itself suggests you, it's a story of a thief. But here the thief names himself as Hari Singh. He's a boy who is 15 years old. Yes, he's just 15 years old, somewhere of your own age. So, and he also says that it is not his real name because he keeps on changing his names in order to escape from the custody of police or in order to escape from his variety of people who he has, robbed. So Hari Singh is a name that he has taken for this particular moment of time, and he has identified a person, Anil, who is 25-year old, and he goes to him and asks for a job. Anil is a struggling writer and he stays alone. When you read the story, there is absolutely no reference to any other family member living with him. He stays alone and his work is to write for a particular magazine. That's how he earns his living, and still struggling because he does not make a very good living. And he says to Hari that he can employ him provided Hari does not expect any regular salary from him. But only thing that he will be able to do for Hari is to be able to feed him. So this is the condition upon which Hari, he is ready to stay with Anil. And Hari's purpose, right from the beginning, is to rob Anil. Anil is, as I told you, a young man of 25, and he is very, modest. And he seems to be very modest, and at the same time, he seems to be very accepting also, because he accepts Hari Singh, without without making any deeper inquiries about his whereabouts. So then Hari starts working for Anil, and the work of his whole day work consists of going to the grocery shops and buying something for Anil. Anil would give him few rupees every day, and he is expected to go to the grocery shops and buy something. And then he would come back. Hari would cook, or sometimes he would cook, and then they would study together. Hari had actually taught him to write his own name. Sorry, Anil has taught Hari to write his name, and at the same time, he has said to him that he will very soon, teach him how to add numbers and how to write whole sentences, which means that Anil has all the intentions of educating Hari. Now, Hari, as he is a thief, and this is what his nature is, he would often make a profit of 1 rupee, of 2 rupee every day from the groceries. Somehow he would steal 1 rupee or 2 rupee in buying of the groceries, and he will just keep it for himself. This is what his nature is actually. He is a thief by nature. There is, this reference by Hari to us that towards the reader. I mean, he tells this to the readers that Anil seems to know about it. Anil seems to know that Hari makes some profit, or Hari keeps on stealing money from whatever the daily amount that Anil gives to him. But he just decides to ignore him and decides not to make a fuss about it. Okay, he keeps on educating him. Meanwhile, we keep on getting references from Hari, who says that he has, throughout these many years of stealing and robbing people, he has actually learned to know people. He has started learning to read people, and he knows that, a greedy person, when you rob a greedy person, he gets extremely upset. And you grow when a rich person is robbed, then he shows anger, and if a poor person is robbed, then he shows acceptance. But this is how he has actually known his people, and he knows that if you steal a person who is very good and nice and good natured like Anil, Anil would not do anything, and he would simply accept it, and he would simply let Hari go, which actually takes away all the pleasure. So what you know from this is that Hari is somebody who does not only steal out of necessity or out of any lack of job or because he needs to fill his belly every day, but he has actually started taking pleasure in his work. And this pleasure comes when he knows that he has been able to inflict some pain upon his upon the people whom he has robbed. Now he knows that Anil has is been a very trusting person. He has trusted Hari a lot, and not just that. He, of course, he cannot afford to pay any great amount to Hari, but at least he's giving him education, and that makes all the more that makes a complete situation all the more better for Hari, because now Hari feels that being educated is going to be really good, and he knows that what will happen, he can achieve so many things when he would learn to write whole sentences, which means he understands the value of education. One fine day we find Hari, who has been able to sell his book to a publisher. He gets a hefty amount. He's bringing quite good amount, and he brings that amount and he keeps that amount under his mattress, the mattress upon which he sleeps. And Hari has noticed that Anil has kept the money under the mattress, and now Hari makes plan to somehow steal that money and run away to the railway station and catch 10:30 train, which is probably a Lucknow Express. You just read the story and find out. I think it's Lucknow Express he's going to catch and is about to leave the city. Now everything falls in the place and he works according to the plan that he has made. But when he was in fact stealing the money, he looks at the face of Anil, and Anil's face is completely pure, beautiful, without any lines and scars. It's a simple, pure, beautiful face. Whereas he, Hari, being 15-year-old, 10 years older than him, was not as beautiful as Anil was at 25. Anyway, he just somehow is able to suppress all these things, and he takes away the money and runs to the railway station, and he looks at the train. He goes to the platform. He does not buy a ticket because he says he has never bought a ticket, which means he has his habit of traveling into the trains without ticket. So which means he is a very skilled thief. He is a skilled person who can basically manipulate the people, the authoritative people of railways also, right? So he just wants to go up onto the train, and the train was still there. It had not caught that kind of speed. It was still slower. He could have caught the train, but then he realizes that he is actually cheating a person who has given him education. And education is important to him because he can become a good and respectable man. After all, if he takes away this money, the money happened to be 600 rupees in amount. The amount of the money was 600. So if he takes away the 600 rupees and runs away today, forever he would only be known as thief. And more than that, he would lose the trust and love of Anil, who has been extremely supportive to him. Okay, so he decides that he is going to return back to Anil and give the money back to him, because he does not want to lose the support and the love and the trust he has received probably for the first time in his life. And at the same time, he also weighs down the possibility of staying with Anil and becoming a educated person, because he can read and learn and study along with Anil and become a good and respectable man in society, which is far more attractive than just being called as a thief and just being hated by people. Now if somebody, for example, has robbed you at one point or other, how would you remember that person? Do you remember that person as a nice one? No, we tend to remember him in a very negative light. So whoever knows Hari so far would only remember him as a thief, would only remember him somebody who had cheated them. But now he has this desire within him to be known as a good person and to be remembered and acknowledged as a respectable person in society. And therefore he decides to go back to Hari. As he decides to go back to Anil. So as Hari is moving back from railway station towards the home, and is crossing the bazaar, the market, uh, he encounters rain. The rain happens Rain is falling down on all the money. The notes that were kept in his pocket get wet. So he moves inside the home, and Anil is still sleeping on the mattress, and he very carefully pushes back the money under his mattress. Now, the next morning, he gets up and he finds that Anil has gotten up before him, and he has in fact made tea for Hari also. So Hari was, of course, extremely fearful at this time, because he did not want to get caught, and he did not want Anil to hate him for whatever he had done. But then he takes the cup of tea. He accepts the cup of tea, and along with that cup of tea, Anil also offers him 50 rupees note, and he says that since he has been paid well, now he can afford to pay something to Hari also. So Hari will get a monthly salary from now onwards, and his first installment of the salary is those 50 rupees which he is receiving. The note was still wet, which means Anil had known what Hari had done to him last night. But even after knowing that, he has accepted Hari, and not just that, he decides to keep him with him, and also decides to continue allow him to continue work for him. Now, this is where the story actually ends. Now, as I told you, the storyline is extremely simple, and you find there is this boy who is not very good. There is a lack of goodness in there, and he meets a person who is extremely good, like Anil, and slowly and steadily, the goodness of Anil is able to transform Hari, and Hari also changes from a bad character, or from a cheater to a nice person, decides to become a good person. This is just the storyline. Let us first look at what could be the themes that Ruskin Bond wants us to understand, or the theme upon which he has built up the story. Okay, so first theme could be the trust and friendship. It was trust and friendship. Both of these are very important virtues, especially trust. Believing something, and believing in something, and believing in somebody is something which gives one a lot of strength. You must understand that Hari has robbed many people before, but he has never been able to change his heart. The reason is other people would have only viewed. See, there is no reference, but one first we must understand what kind of a person Hari has been. Hari seems to be an orphan. Okay, let us first discuss the character sketch, then we will get back to the themes. Hari seems to be orphan, because there is absolutely no reference to his parents, to his family anywhere in the story. He does not talk about his parents, about his family. Okay, and when you look at Hari, Hari is just 15 years old. As I told you, it's somewhere of your age. You were studying in class 10. At this time, you've been given all the kind of facilities which your parents can provide to you and the school can provide to you. You're getting every facility which possibly should be given to you, right? But Hari has been deprived of all these things. We must understand that he would have been mistreated by people for multiple number of times till now, because we don't tend to see such people as good. We only tend to see them as our workers or as our servants in the homes, and we don't find them fit enough to get education in society. They feel neglected, they feel isolated, they feel mistreated, they feel mistrusted also. So what he has been able to receive in his life is whatever I had just told you, mistrust and mistreatment, negligence of society and the government. Because if he is often, then state and authorities and the government has not done anything to take care of people like Hari Singh, right? What are these people supposed to do? Obviously they will rob other people. Obviously they are going to become thief, and in order to somehow earn a basic living for themselves. I'm not trying to portray them in a positive way, but all I'm trying to understand and make you to understand is that you must understand the position of Hari. You must understand him from a perspective which should be neutral towards Hari. Don't start hating him because he keeps on thieving people, or he keeps on robbing people. You must understand that in Hari's position it is difficult to stay good and positive and morally upgraded. It's not possible. These are the situations under which any individual might feel tempted to lose his or her own morality. So I'm not calling him immoral, but I would call him amoral. The difference between immoral and amoral is, immoral is a person who has very low level of morality, who does not have any sense of what is right and wrong. He know what is right and wrong, but he deliberately chooses the wrong thing, and he has decided to become bad. Amoral is who does not have any morals at all, who does not know what is right and what is wrong, who has not been given that kind of sensitization towards, making a decision which is good for himself and for the society and for others. So definitely you find Hari been in that particular situation, right? So wherever he would have been worked, just imagine how sometimes we talk or sometimes we treat are the domestic helps, isn't it? Sometimes we tend to get angry when we find them not working properly, just because we are economically well off and they're not. So he would have definitely seen a lot of hatred in his life. He has seen a lot of mistrust in his life, and as an kind of revenge, he starts robbing people. So that's what I said, that it is not just his job. He's not just robbing people because he needs to eat or he needs to feed himself or he needs to keep himself alive, but he starts robbing people because he start taking a pleasure in it. Because the more pain he is able to inflict upon the person, better it is for him. Therefore, it is good to rob a greedy person, it is good to rob a rich person, but it is not good to rob a person who is trusting and loving like Anil, because these people, they just accept the situation and they do not really react back because they're good people. Okay, they do not actually feel bad for the loss of the money, but they feel bad for the loss of the trust which they would have invested in a person like Hari. Therefore, it is more of a revenge kind of a thing which he is committing upon society, which has failed to give him a right living, which has failed to give him a respectable living, which has failed to give him the right of education, the right kind of education which he should be getting till now. This is a kind of revenge that he is committing on society. You must understand this. So when you look at Hari's character, Hari comes out to be uh, he comes out to be somebody who is much mature than his age. He's not a typical 15-year-old boy who just is more interested in playing video games, or is more interested in mobiles, or is more interested in playing football with the friends. He is extremely mature than his age, because he knows, he knows that, or he understands people much better than others, and he know what kind of a reaction each and every kind of a person would give if he robs him. So that is why he says that a greedy person will show loss, will show grief. The rich person will show anger, but a trusting person, a loving person will grieve. He will actually feel hurt, not for the loss of money, but for the loss of the trust. And therefore, there is no pleasure in actually robbing such people. So you know that his ideas or his understanding of human nature is much more than a typical 15-year-old boy, right? At the same time, I would also like you to understand Hari as symbolic of a section of society who are totally neglected by government. They might be very poor, they might be orphan, they might be parentless, they might be familyless, and the government and the authorities have not been able to do anything to kind of give them a good living. So it is also a failure of society, of any civilized society, and also the failure of a government system which have been able to which have not been able to help these people or mold these people, uh, in a better way, or they have failed to make such people or to turn such people into good citizens of the society, and that is why they become a threat to the society. So where are these threats coming from? These are nothing but the ultimately the result of the negligence of the government and of the authorities, right? Move on to the next character, who is Anil. As I told you, Anil is a struggling writer, young man of 25. He is very, very young. And there is one reference to his face which Hari gives when he was about to steal the money from under his mattress, and that is that his face was completely plain, as in it he did not have even a single mark on his face. Now, the markless face will definitely be extremely beautiful. But you must understand that this beauty is not just the external beauty that Hari is talking about. A complete plain face, a face without any marks and the scars, refers to a face which has pure beauty in it, and this beauty is not just outside, this is an inside beauty which gets reflected on his face. Hmm? uh, Anil, on the other hand, talks about how many scars he has. Now, scars are generally the marks left over after an injury, which means that Hari has faced a lot of wrong experiences in his life, incidents in his life. Probably he would have been beaten, he would have been hurt, he would have been injured by many people, and that is why there are scars on his face. These scars have made him experience, but in a negative way. Yes, Hari is an experienced person, experienced boy, but in a negative way, right? He is utilizing all his talent and all his abilities only to inflict pain upon others. Whereas for Anil, Anil is a pure soul. Anil is somebody who is extremely trusting, loving, understanding, helpful, and he one of the most important uh, character of his personality, which I find is the most appealing one, is that is a completely and absolutely non-judgmental. He does not judge people, and he has not judged Hari also. He probably right from the beginning knew that Hari did not have, he has never had any family probably, and that is why it's more difficult to trust a person like Hari. But then he decides to trust him, and right from the beginning Anil also knows that Hari keeps on stealing 1 rupee or 2 rupees every day, but then he does not say anything to him because he feels that since he is not paying anything to Hari can at least keep 1 rupee or 2 rupee for himself every day. There is nothing wrong. Imagine what would you have done if you would have been in the place of Hari. Generally, the tendency of any human being in such a condition would have been to, you know, rebuke Hari and to scold him and just to throw him out of the job. But Anil does not do that because Anil knows that if he's stealing out of, he's stealing out of pleasure also, and he's stealing because he has never had that kind of upbringing. He has never had that kind of teachings. So that is why he decides to educate Hari, and he makes him to write down his name, and then he says that he's going to teach him additions and other things. That is why I find Anil a very appealing character. But more than just two people, you must also understand that the story is a symbolic way of telling or passing a message to the people that about how education can basically becomes the real rescuer of individuals. It is extremely, you can only reform a society or you can only transform a society with the help of education and with the help of love and respect. Each and every man is fundamentally good. All the men ever born on this earth are fent. Nobody is born criminal. Nobody is a born scoundrel. Nobody is a born robber. Anil understands it quite well. He knows that Hari, probably right from the beginning, he knows, or if not from the beginning, right within the first few days of his, keeping Hari with him, he would have known that Hari is a thief. But then still he decides to keep him with him because he understands that what Hari needs is not punishment. It's not hatred, but he needs to be educated, he needs to be loved, he needs to be respected. Love and respect, if fed properly to an individual, can change and can bring wonders to his personality. And this is exactly what Hari works upon. Hari starts working upon highlighting the innate goodness of the character of Hari. That is what he does. And therefore, what Ruskin Bond tells us is that if you need to reform society, the only way of reforming a society is by educating people in a right way, is only by loving and supporting people, is only by giving trust. These are the virtues which are extremely important for a society to flourish, for a society to be civilized. We do not need successful people, we need people who are healers, we need people who are teachers, we need people who are trusting, we need people who accepts, who we need people who love, right? So these are the important virtues upon which a civilized society can stand upon, upon which basically, if you are able to practice these virtues, only then you become a good human being. A good degree, a good job, a lot of money in your bank account does not actually characterize you as a, it may characterize you as a successful person, but it will never characterize you as a good person. So be a good person, be a civilized person. This is exactly what Anil and Hari's character symbolize. So there is Hari's character, let me just sum up it once again. There is Hari's character who is reflective of so many people, finding their way into criminality because of the negligence of the society and government. And then there are people like Anil, who are like teachers, who are redeemers, and they are able to help such people, people like Hari, from moving on to the path of criminality and badness. And they are the actual saviors of humanity, and they should actually be encouraged by people like government and society. So love more, trust more, and hate less. So the story talks to you about how love and trust can be, like life changing forces in any individual's life. This is now I'm coming now onto the themes of the story. So first I discussed with you the characters of Anil and Hari. Now I'm coming on the themes of the story. So when you read the story in depth, you understand that for a good society to flourish, for a good personality, what you need is not money, but you need love and trust, like Anil has it. And it's also important that at the end, Hari understands that he's able to decide well between long-term goals and short-term benefits. He understands that being educated is going to definitely help him much more than just stealing 600 rupees and running away with that. So he understands what is better, and he understands the importance of trust, which has been invested in him by Anil. At the same time, he also understands how life changing education could be, which Anil is actually giving him for free. Isn't it? Anil is not charging any money. Anil is ready to teach him. Anil is ready to invest his time. Anil is ready to give him all the love and support which he has never received in his life. So he is able to understand what is better for him, 600 rupees or becoming an educated person, because then he will get respect in society. And that is something which is more appealing. That is something which is more worth having, right? So this is what the story is all about. Read the story again, even if you have read it once more, and try to understand it from the angles that I have told you. These are my perspectives. You can have your own perspectives. You can challenge my perspectives. You can support me, whatever you want to do. But then, whatever the argument you're coming with, just ensure that you are able to support your arguments from the incidents which are there in the book. So, read your book. You do not need any kind of guidebooks for this. It's a very simple yet a very appealing story. There's one more thing that you need to do is that try to find out something more about Ruskin Bond than what you know. So search about Ruskin Bond, what kind of, and if possible, because Ruskin Bond is a very well known and famous writer, if you can, please read more stories by Ruskin Bond, and if you want, you can share those stories, whatever you have read more about Ruskin Bond, the stories more about Ruskin Bond, you can share that with me also in comment section. And if you have any doubts, please share with me, ask me. I'll definitely discuss with it. If you need any other video to be uploaded on the same chapter, please let me know. Otherwise, after listening to this video, you must try to sketch down or pen down the character sketch of both Anil and Hari, and at the same time try to also pen down the basic themes that you think story is built upon. I hope the video has helped you, or it will help you, and I'll just meet you up once again in my another video. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day.